morning, I declare the degree congregation open. Please be seated. Distinguished guests, graduates, family and friends, a very warm welcome to this morning's graduation ceremony. As Chancellor, it's a great privilege to be sharing this day with you. Can I start by asking you to thank with me our musicians who are playing an anthem which was commissioned by our partners, Bournemouth Symphony Orchestra, specifically for graduation ceremonies. Thank you very much. You will hear us tell you several times this morning that graduation is a very important moment in your life, one which we hope you will never forget. You've worked incredibly hard to get here. You worked hard to secure your place at the University of Exeter, and you've worked hard to obtain your degrees. There are very few moments in life when we have the opportunity to be with family and friends to celebrate achievement, and today is one of those days, and it is a day to be enjoyed. Graduation is also an opportunity for the whole university to celebrate and reflect on our history and values, values that connect us, not just today, but forever, through the contribution that you have made during your life here at the university. Exeter has thrived over the last 6 decades to become one of the very best universities in the world, indeed in the top 1% of all universities in the world, according to independent rankings. Each and every one of you has played your part in that achievement. And now, for many of you, this is the beginning of a new chapter in your lives. We will watch with pride as you grow into the academic, community, and professional leaders of the future. You're well on the way. And we hope that the values of the university will be guiding principles as you progress through your careers. We know that you will strive to reach the highest standards professionally and to be good citizens. So graduates, we're immensely proud of you. I hope that you will look back over your time here at Exeter as some of the happiest years of your life. I look forward to meeting with the graduates individually as I confer their degrees upon them on this stage. But I now call upon the Vice-Chancellor of the University, Professor Sir Steve Smith, to address the congregation. Thank you.
Well, good morning and thank you, Chancellor. Welcome, everyone, and a very special welcome today to our graduates. Today is your day, a chance for you to celebrate all that you've achieved during your time at this distinguished university. But of course, it's not only a rite of passage for you, but also an important occasion for your families and loved ones as well. Because although the focus of the ceremony is you, our graduates, we're also here to celebrate all of those who've encouraged and supported you. And we appreciate that some of you in the audience have made great sacrifices to support our graduates during their studies. So perhaps I could ask our graduates to join me in offering our collective heartfelt thanks to families and friends. Graduation is also about celebrating each graduate's contribution to Exeter's academic community. Each of you has written your own chapter in Exeter's history, and you should be very proud. We are certainly very proud of you. For some of you, today is the beginning of a new relationship with your university, as you join the worldwide community of over 120,000 alumni with whom we're still in touch. Please don't forget to collect your free alumni bag from the alumni stand in the forum. Our alumni are here to help you as you begin and progress in your career. They have quite literally been here and done it. So make use of their expertise and their networks. They want to help, and they would be really glad to hear from you. Last year, over 1,000 Exeter alumni volunteered more than 11,000 hours to support Exeter students. For those of you returning for postgraduate degrees, we look forward to welcoming you back in the autumn. There's no doubt that Exeter graduates go on to do incredible things, and so will you. Our graduates pursue careers all over the world, and an Exeter degree is your passport to success in whatever walk of life you choose. Our graduates make a positive impact on the world around them, both professionally and within wider society. I hope that your time and achievements here will be something that will stay with you throughout your life. We will continue to work hard to make sure that your university remains successful and that we continue to make you proud of us. The University of Exeter is a forever institution and an anchor institution, and we hope that your connection with us will be lifelong. It's a forever institution because the great universities will be here when the current pressures and challenges are long gone. Exeter is one of the world's finest universities, and Exeter Research and Scholarship are transforming lives and societies around the world as well as here in the southwest of England. This university owes its origins to a group of people who raised funds to create a place of learning in Devon and Cornwall. Their aim was to provide the children of the southwest, and I quote, with as good a chance in life as children elsewhere in England, end quote. We never forget that aim. Today we are a world-class university, firmly and proudly anchored in our region, working with our partners for the betterment of lives locally, nationally, and internationally. We care deeply about our community impact and contribution. The university contributes over £1.1 billion a year into the economy and generates almost 11,000 jobs in the southwest. Last year, the city of Exeter created more jobs in technology than Cambridge. Over the last year, we've also made a global impact through our research in global health, food and water security, climate change, and global conflict and terrorism, to name just a few issues. Issues that are not only important for this university, of course, but for the world as a whole. We are very proud that one of our research teams, led by Professor Tamara Galloway, won the prestigious Guardian University Award for Research Impact this year for its research into the devastating impact that microplastic pollution can have on the health of humans and wildlife. We've also received the largest philanthropic gift in the university's history, a gift to our medical school. This was a £10 million donation from the Dennis and Murray Gillings Foundation for the Murray Gillings Neuroimaging Centre, a new facility which will double the number of the world's trials in Alzheimer's research and will thus affect the lives of many. The College of Social Sciences and International Studies has had a very successful year, one in which our social science research is shaping and challenging how we think about our world. All the disciplines represented here today are outstanding and play their part in making Exeter Social Sciences truly world-class. Politics and International Studies has been ranked in the global top 100 in the QS World Rankings again this year, and Dr. David Lewis has been awarded a prestigious 2-year fellowship from the Foreign and Commonwealth Office, where he will be advising diplomats and policymakers on critical areas of foreign policy in relations to Russia and Central Asia. The Graduate School of Education achieved Ofsted Outstanding, cementing its status as one of the country's leading centres for initial teacher education and training. And we also opened a new Centre for Social Mobility, bringing researchers and practitioners together to promote evidence-based practice, nurture new ideas, and support a whole institution approach to social mobility. Turning back to the university generally, just a few weeks ago, we found out that we'd been awarded once again a Gold Award for the quality of our teaching, only one of 10 Russell Group universities to have received this accolade. We constantly strive to put our students at the heart of everything we do, creating their education with us in partnership. And we're very proud of our relationship with the Students' Guild and the Athletic Union, and I would like to take this opportunity to thank them for providing all students with wonderful support, social and sporting opportunities, and an all-round fantastic university experience. Now, when Exeter was founded back in 1955, we welcomed exactly 454 students onto the first year of their degree. Later this year, around 5,000 new first years will be joining us. Today, Exeter is a destination of choice for many of the world's brightest young people from over 140 countries. More than 2/3 of our applicants last year with A-levels were predicted to get 3 A's or higher. And I have to admit that many of us on the stage, certainly myself included, might not quite have got the grades required to get a place at Exeter today. But whilst much has changed over the decades, Exeter's reputation as a creator of graduates of distinction and world-class education and research has remained the same. Graduates like you will transform the world for all of us, and I know that you will make us as proud of you tomorrow as we are today. My final message is very simple. Well done. Thank you for choosing the University of Exeter. Please never underestimate the transformative power of education. I passionately believe that education opens the door to a more successful and fulfilling life, as I truly hope it will for all of you. Please stay in touch, because together we make this university one of the best in the world. To repeat, we are a forever institution, firmly and proudly located in our region, and we want you to be part of our community forever. But most of all, enjoy the day, your day, because you deserve all our sincere congratulations. Thank you.
I now call upon Professor Jason Reifler to present the first cohort of candidates for awards.
Chancellor, by the authority of Senate, I present to you the following who have been deemed worthy to receive degrees of the university. In the College of Social Sciences and International Studies, for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy and Politics, Jonathan Camilo Kamkaji. Caroline Nye. John Keith Bell Sutherland. In Security, Conflict, and Justice, Patrick Finnegan. For the degree of Master of Research in Politics, Hugo Marino. In Political Thought, Mohammed Ahmad Al-Mari. In Politics and International Relations of the Middle East, Aliette Trich. For the degree of Master of Politics in Politics and International Relations, Callum Joseph Crossan. Vashti May Miller. For the degree of Bachelor of Arts in International Development with Chemistry, Ellen West. In International Relations, Oliver Addison. Barbara Adafriti Melanie Balagan. Edward Barrett. Thomas Broadbent. Max Burgess. Christian Clayton Spence. Anna Dalton. Colin Alexander Duffy. Julian Connor Earl. Sota Fukushima. Soline Garrow. George Goslin. Alexander Heneage. Melissa Ho-Lee Shen. Isabella Darby Hughes. Edward Jacobs. Zarina Kabashova. Toby King Thompson. Natasha Sophie Knight. Marina Lademacher. Billy Lever. Alexandra Makshaw. William David James Martin. Rebecca Shannon McCauley. Elodie Joanna Miles. Clara Merritt Carbonell. Jeffrey Morris. Vilda Hahn Ostrat. Nicholas Camilo Oswald. James Pallett. Ada Sophie Polson. Kirsty Scotter. Hugh Gerald Cuthbert Scroop. Jacqueline Self. Lily Say. Philip Staple. Agnes Helene Storin. Pierre Terlinden Rule. Zoe Thompson. James Michael Irvin Todd. Charlie Tozer. Thomas Peter Windows. In International Relations and Arabic with work experience abroad, Ella Victoria Mobbs. In International Relations and Criminology, Antonia Frances Lauren Boots. In International Relations and French, Millicent Barber. Clarissa de Leperouse. Alexis King. In International Relations and German, Julia Pearl van Douwenvoorde. In International Relations and Italian, Juan Felipe Rodriguez Osorio. In International Relations and Law, Georgina Amy Luisa Carlin. In International Relations and Management, Matilda Letarnik. Jin Huan Yu. In International Relations and Middle East Studies, Joseph Zolna. In International Relations and Philosophy, Jack Bergquist. Thomas Howes. In International Relations and Russian, Vitaly Ravitcher. In International Relations and Spanish, Rihanna Vowles Fullen. Ana Cristina Elena Johnston. Matthew Morris Payne. In International Relations and Strategy and International Security, Olena Savitska. In International Relations with Anthropology, Rachel Ann Boylan. In International Relations with Anthropology and Study Abroad, Catherine Hendry. In International Relations with Economics, Emma Michaud. In International Relations with History, Shannon White. In International Relations with Italian, Domati Caroline Erica Heather de la Rue. In International Relations with Management, Alexander Moreau Buvik. Vivian Chernick-Ten. In International Relations with Management and Study Abroad, Dimitra Andriana Mina. In International Relations with Middle East Studies, Frederick James Anthony Barrett. Noah Froelich. In International Relations with Philosophy, Laura Gus Tarazona. In International Relations with Study Abroad, Emily Clifford. Valentina Concordia. Emilio Cricchio. Moritz Otto Wenzel Douglas. Kieran James Foster. Finley Kettlewell. Carl Lofthagen. Dylan Edgar Saralis. Chloe Natasha Votrasevich. In International Relations with Sustainability, Hina Washizu. In Politics, James Badger. George Baldwin. Louis Burton. Charlie Ben Crawford Bevan. David Paul Chalmers. Emily Grace Colley. James Alexander Cope. Tess Amber Eaton. Thomas Henry Guy. James William Ingham. Flora Johnston. Toby Reese Jones. Amy Victoria Klein. Lewis Lane. George Livesey. Alistair MacLeod. Jack Marcus. Jeremy Alexander Mazelon. Samuel James O'Neill. Sebastian Parfit. Maximilian Panampalam. Hannah Louise Priest. Christopher David Richardson. Jack Richardson. Avril Helen Sandra Roberts. Robert Stephen Selby. Melissa Shires. Amelia Stewart. Olivia Townsend. Antonio Tucker. Uli Natalia Vanguard. Alice Margaret Campbell Whittingdale. Matthew James Williams. Pui Kwan Christina Shen. In politics and Arabic, Kira Bocharnikova. In politics and French, Samuel William Bernard Salzman. In politics and international relations, Njime Inchil. Sarah Norris. In politics and management with UK work experience, Isabel Morris. In politics and sociology, Jessica Ann Gerald. Kofo Odunuga. Raheel Tharmaraj. In politics and theology, Matthew Terrence Ashton O'Regan. In politics with ancient history, George Anthony Hames. In politics with economics, Edward Peter Logan Ellis. In politics with history, Griffith James Morgan. In politics with Middle East studies, Latika Chabra. Susanna Rooney. In politics with study abroad, Alice Jemima Daisy Curtis. Lewis Kirk. Christopher James Mansfield. Edward Benjamin Shelley. In politics, philosophy, and economics, Davide Albijani. Vianney de Boisredon. Victor Alexa. James Angove. James Edward Askew. Dominic Barnes. Christian Bentley. Greta Bertozini. Matthew Bird. William Robert Blankney. Hugo Kingsley Mason Blogg. Helena Brennan. William Bunker. Rebecca Campbell. Azar Jamal Chaudhry. Natasha Christofedu. Natasha Cove. Claire Dufour. Oliver Jack Sinclair Arrington. Owen Evans. Orla Mora Fallon. Emma Louise Fordham. Anna Fugard. James George. George Richard Gregory. Oliver Gregono. Gamsa Gulkin. Olivia Hammond. Sophie Holt. Jennifer Humphreys. George Jones. Omoteo K. Ramos. James Andrew John Kemp. Callum Kennedy. Connor Justin Lane. Edward Langley. Lorenzo Lops. Matilde Martha Magada Cahill. Sean Mangot. Francesca Marietti. Drew Peter McConville. Kaylee Elizabeth McKee. Matthew McEwen. Grania Deirdre O'Brien. Mateo Peruzet. Molly Pilgrim. David Pugh. Maria Rodichkina. Florence Agnes Skinner. Matthew Thomas Orton Smith. Isabel Helen Margaret Taylor. Aaron Turner. Catherine Worley. In politics, philosophy, and economics with study abroad, Maxima Bergo. Layla Dara. James Benjamin Dean. Rashida Ibrahim. Charlotte Jones. Ellis Reese Jones. Claudia Jovilar Calvet. Chloe Kells. Melanie Mackay. Kasha Nijarwan. Maximilian David Price. William Sellers. Jacob Taylor. For the degree of Bachelor of Science in Politics and International Relations, Batuin Aksen. Federico Olizio. Felix Luke Bailey. Jessica Birch. Simon Bird. Lena Chowchan. Ana Meva Guandalino. Edward Hambley. Lucy Hope Heitner. Hugo Kenahan. Timothy Lekulia. Natalie Meyer. Grace Mitchell Kilpatrick. Julian Mule. Julia Alexia Nod. Adina Pintelie. Matthew John Rassel. Alexander Rhodes. Chloe Ryan. Maria Santillon O'Shea. Athena Sargent. Kavan Narayan Sinha. Jack Smith. George Spedding. Yanjun Sui. Anna Zeverin. In Politics and International Relations with Study Abroad, Chrissy Davis. Annabelle Ruby Longden. James Pryor. Robert Charles Randall. Alexander Redwood. Lavanya Rasa. Catherine Elizabeth Smith. Jonathan Jordan Yakutil. For the degree of Bachelor of Arts in Strategy and International Security with Arabic, Sarah Yasmina Ahmad Johansson. In Strategy and International Security and Middle East Studies, Julia Rebecca Brahms.
I now call upon the public orator, Professor Sir Steve Smith, to present the honorary graduand.
The Right Honourable Alan Johnson. It is my great privilege to present the Right Honourable Alan Johnson, previously Home Secretary and MP for Hull West and Hessle, now an acclaimed writer and broadcaster, for an honorary degree. We honour him in particular for his tireless commitment to tackling social injustice and inequality in all its forms, including through the life-changing power of education. Many in the audience today will be familiar with Alan's extraordinary life story. His award-winning memoirs provide a deeply fascinating insight into Alan's path to Westminster and a poignant portrayal of life growing up in post-war London. Alan's personal story can surely have very few, if any, parallels. Born in May 1950, Alan grew up in poverty, in what he described as squalor, but with, and I quote, the spirit of survivors inhabiting the uninhabitable. Despite leaving school age 15, Alan rose to occupy a total of 5 cabinet positions, culminating in his appointment to one of the 4 great offices of state, Home Secretary, in 2009. It is very sad to acknowledge that social mobility of this magnitude is incredibly rare in this country, and it is a testament to Alan's drive and principled determination to succeed despite the odds being stacked against him. His home life as a boy was difficult, living with an abusive father who left the family home when he was young, and his beloved mother, Lily, who suffered from poor health due to a serious heart condition. Alan's mother was a powerful influence on his life. He recalls how he and his sister Linda were taken regularly to Ladbroke Grove Library by her as toddlers, sometimes against their will, to introduce them to books and to learn to read. Despite not having had a formal education herself, his mother had an instinctive understanding that reading would help Alan and Linda succeed in life. He read and reread the small number of books that he owned growing up, and this love of books has permeated his life and career. This experience, Alan recalls, was one of the most formative of his life. After passing the 11 plus, Alan attended Sloane Grammar School, and although he does not remember those years as happy ones, he enjoyed a number of subjects, including history, economics, and particularly English. But his great love at the time was music, and he harbored ambitions of emulating his idols and becoming a rock star. In his memoirs, he recalls a sense of joy when he bought his first guitar and record player, following his mum's win on the football pools. Tragically, such good times were short-lived after his mother died following heart surgery when Alan was just 13 years old. Thanks to the dogged determination of Linda, the two siblings were allowed to stay together, and he returned to school to finish his secondary education. In these years, Alan was profoundly influenced by his caring and committed English teacher, Mr. Carlin, who introduced him to many great authors and poets. He also took a personal interest in Alan and Linda's welfare, and Alan credits him with inspiring him to explore his creativity and skills as a writer. Yet, Alan chose to leave school at 15. University was never an aspiration at a time when less than 10% of the population went to university. And for anyone of Alan's social background to go was extremely rare. The equivalent, in Alan's words, of a kid from the slums of North Kensington going to the planet Pluto. So he started work for Tesco, ordering stock and helping with deliveries, before becoming a postman in 1968, joining the Union of Communication Workers at the same time. It was during those years as a postman that his political views took shape. Joining the Labour Party just after the 1971 National Post Office strike, his rise through the ranks of the unions was as meteoric as his rise through government would be 3 decades later. In 1992, he was elected the youngest General Secretary in the history of the UCW and served on the General Council of the TUC and was a member of the National Executive Committee. This was his leadership role in the union movement that led to Alan being spotted by Tony Blair for his political astuteness and supreme negotiating skills. In a career-changing phone call, Alan was clear that he had absolutely no ambition whatsoever to be an MP. But Mr. Blair used all his powers of persuasion, saying that he needed more MPs like Alan, who had experience of, quote, a proper job, quote. Mr. Blair won the argument, and Alan entered the House of Commons in 1997 as MP for Hull West and Hestle. His rise through government is one of the most meteoric of modern times. Appointed Minister for Higher Education in 2003, and then holding 5 cabinet positions: work and pensions, trade and industry, education and skills, health, and finally Home Secretary. It was during Alan's stint as Higher Education Minister in 2003 to 4 that I first met him, and I was deeply impressed by his absolute desire to widen participation in higher education as a means of galvanizing social change. His achievements were numerous and included the Aim Higher initiative, raising aspirations from primary school level onwards. Alan was a joy and a privilege to work with as a minister. Despite not having been to university himself, Alan regarded universities as crucial to civilized society, to the economy, and prosperity generally. And so we helped steer through legislation to modernize the funding system on the basis that 4 decades of free higher education had failed to close the social class gap. Alan personally drove a progressive agenda which argued that graduates should make a small contribution to the cost of their education to help fund a massive expansion of higher education, and also, I note, a return of maintenance grants for students from the poorest backgrounds. Thanks to his efforts, the changes were passed by just 5 votes. The stakes had been so high that Prime Minister Tony Blair had discussed in private what the confidence vote might have looked like should the vote have been lost. During his subsequent time in government during the Blair and Brown administrations, Alan was a leading figure behind progressive policies that struck at the heart of inequality in the UK, including radical measures to tackle poverty, the removal of Section 28, the introduction of civil partnerships, and the introduction of the national minimum wage. Alan decided not to stand for re-election in 2017. and the UK lost one of its greatest statesmen, someone who throughout his career has spoken up for those who don't have a voice. He is the epitome of the authentic leader, not shy of hard work, cool-headed in a crisis, whilst retaining a wicked sense of humour. One might say he is the best leader the Labour Party never had. Sadly for us, Alan never had that particular ambition. Since leaving politics, Alan has focused on his writing and is about to publish a music memoir. Alan has spoken publicly about the sense of enjoyment and fulfillment that he gets from his writing, and any of you in the audience who have read his memoirs will be familiar with what a talented and involving writer he is. The first volume, This Boy, won the Royal Society of Literature Ondaatje Prize and the Orwell Prize, the UK's most prestigious prize for political writing. So, may I end simply by saying how honoured we are to welcome Alan to the Exeter family today as an honorary graduate and to recognise his achievements in the presence of his wife, Carolyn. We are recognising someone today who's made a unique impact on British politics and on society. But most of all, we're honouring someone today who's devoted his working life to creating a more equal and fair society. And speaking purely personally, I would just like to say that in a world short of integrity, Alan has more honesty and integrity than any politician I have ever met. Chancellor, it is therefore my honour to present Alan Johnson for the degree of Doctor of Laws, honoris causa.
So we make Wait a minute. It's my delight to offer you the degree of Doctor of Laws, honoris causa. Congratulations. Thank you.
I now invite our honorary graduate, the Right Honourable Alan Johnson, to address the congregation.
Well, thank you very much, Chancellor, Vice-Chancellor. I'm absolutely delighted to be here today to receive this great honour from this wonderful university. As your Vice-Chancellor mentioned, my formal education ended 2 months after my 15th birthday. But like many of the parents and grandparents of home students here today, I was born into a world where higher education was unobtainable for the vast majority. Only 2% of sixth formers went on to university in the year that I was born, and only around 8% in 1965 when I left school. This wasn't because the rest weren't bright enough, but because a system known as norm referencing changed the rules every year to ensure that universities remained the domain of a privileged few. For someone from my background, the prospect of going to university was remote, but given that I became a postman at the age of 18, I suppose you could describe me as a postgraduate. It sounded good in the bathroom mirror this morning. I spent 3 years after leaving school trying to be a rock star, playing guitar and singing backing vocals for 2 London bands, The Area and The In-Betweens. I still contend that if my band hadn't had all its equipment stolen, I could have spent the last 50 years making records and writing songs. And I want to just give you a taste of my songwriting genius. When I was about 18, I wrote a song entitled Bad Skin about a lad with acne. I've got acne, I've got eczema, I've got every skin disease, gives me pimples I can pick, gives me blackheads I can squeeze. But I'm particularly proud of the middle 8, which went, how can any girl want to be with ya when every kiss she gets just tastes of Nivea? That at least gives you a tiny sense of what the world of pop music has lost. As for the world of academia, I knew very little about it until Prime Minister Tony Blair appointed me to be Higher Education Minister in 2003. I don't have time in this address to go into all the arguments as to why the introduction of deferred tuition fees was the right thing to do. Suffice to say that England's world-class universities would look very different today if we hadn't introduced those unpopular but necessary reforms into a criminally underfunded higher education sector 15 years ago. The current government, having trebled fees but dismantled many of the reforms which went with them, is in the midst of a year-long review. They could save a great deal of time by implementing 4 policies which would help students, universities, and our society as a whole. 1, exclude university students from the immigration statistics. 2, restore bursaries and grants for poorer students and for all trainee nurses. 3, return to the system where student loans carry no real rate of interest. And 4, ensure that the earnings threshold for repayment of tuition fees rises in accordance with average incomes. As for my own party, Labour's pledge to abolish fees is a piece of populist nonsense. If we were going to spend £11 billion on education, it should be spent in the areas where it's really needed, particularly in early years. That policy is based on a fallacy that fewer students from disadvantaged backgrounds are going to university since the introduction of tuition fees. The reverse is the case. In 2006, the year before fees were introduced, only 12.2% of free school meal children, I was one myself, went to university. In 2017, it was 22.5%. Of all the Vice-Chancellors I worked with during the frenetic period when I was Higher Education Minister, Exeter's was the one I liked and admired the most, and it's the same one now, by the way. Devoid of pomposity and self-importance, 2 characteristics not entirely unassociated with VCs, I soon discovered that Steve Smith also had a penchant for rock and roll. When other Vice-Chancellors saw the 2 of us engaged in deep conversation at Russell Group meetings, they assumed that we were discussing the finer points of the Higher Education Bill, whereas we were actually exchanging information on the latest tour by the Rolling Stones. I still play a record by an American band called The Shins that I remember buying on Steve's recommendation. Under his leadership, the University of Exeter has thrived with a permanent top 10 position in the National Student Survey and a host of prizes, including the coveted Sunday Times University of the Year in 2013. As a regular visitor to the West Country, I know how important the University of Exeter is to the local economy and how it has helped to transform educational opportunities for youngsters throughout the West Country because of its presence here and in Cornwall. Coming to what is undoubtedly the most beautiful university campus in the country, to receive an honorary degree is a huge privilege and one of the highlights of my post-political life. Perhaps the first and most important decision that the graduates here will have taken as adults will have been which university to apply for. Today, as well as celebrating your tremendous achievements, you should also celebrate the wisdom of that decision. We are now fellow graduates of a truly great university. Thank you.
I now call upon Dr. Alexandra Allen to present the second cohort of candidates for awards.
Chancellor, by the authority of Senate, I present to you the following who have been deemed worthy to receive degrees of the university. In the College of Social Sciences and International Studies. For the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in Education. Sukaina Afif Ahmed. Hadija Darwish Ali Al-Balushi. Nadia Suleiman Ali Al-Isai. Wafa Saif Mohammed Al-Mawali. Noof Salah Al-Harbi. Nasa Ali. Tarifa Arvind. Mahar bin Hayan. Sami Mohammed bin Jamar. Susan Margaret Burkill. Alicia Hodkovich. Kwanya Karen Dean. Karen Kenny. Sana Kabar. Duncan Hooper Shrewsbury. For the degree of Doctor of Education, David William Bish. Theodore Howard Burkett. Nicola Jane Crossley. Rami Fawaz Mustafa. Shazia Nawaz. Hendrik Adrian van Dongen. For the degree of Doctor of Educational Psychology, Elizabeth May Bishop. Kian Michael Carney. Olivia Miles. Susan Patricia Pollock. Julie Elizabeth Price. Kavita Solder. Helena Daniela Maria Wuchoya. For the degree of Master of Arts in Education, Technology, Creativity and Thinking, Georgina Kingham South. Matthew James Garvey Pitts. For the degree of Master of Science in Educational Research, Mona Al-Shari. Yasser Al-Yafai. Hanan Maita. Akila Mezian. Warren Speed. For the degree of Bachelor of Arts in Philosophy and Politics, Imogen Bath. Brixhilda Barisha.
I now call upon Dr. Andrew Richards to give a short speech about one of our students.
At this point, I'd like to bring one of the doctorate in in psychology students to the notice of the congregation, Charlie Woods. Charlie was an energetic and a very accomplished scholar. She was well respected and loved by those with whom she came into contact. She overcame a number of difficulties on the course, not least arriving late for an interview. Charlie completed nearly 2 years of the 3-year course. We're sad to say that she died last year after an illness that lasted for a year. The university has granted her a degree in recognition of all the work that she had done. She received notice of the degree before she died. We recall and celebrate her life and the positive impact that she had on children and young people while she was training, and also on all of those who knew her. We admired her forbearance and her fortitude and her principled approach to her work and her study. For us at Exeter, Charlie's memories live on with us amongst the tutors, amongst the professional colleagues in the field, and amongst her cohort. Thank you.
I now call upon Professor Christine Robbins to present the final cohort of candidates for awards.
Chancellor, by the authority of Senate, I present to you the following who've been deemed worthy to receive degrees of the university. In the College of Social Sciences and International Studies, for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in Arab and Islamic Studies, Dima Al-Kutub. Mohammed Khairul Anam bin Shaymentri. Eman Saifuddin El-Badawi. Davide Domenico Pettinato. Sofia Maria Zeschitz. In ethno-political studies, Mohamed Saloom. For the degree of Doctor of Philosophy by Publication in Middle East Politics, Clayton Edward Swisher. For the degree of Bachelor of Arts in Arabic, Charlotte Helena Mary Florence Higgs. Benjamin Houghton. Louis Lionel Holroyd Taylor. In Arabic and International Relations, Emma Harrison. In Arabic and Islamic Studies, Khadija Mohammed. In Arabic and Middle East Studies, Samuel Henry Jennings. Simon Linsell. In Arabic with Economics, Tanya Mubarak. In Arabic with French and Study Abroad, Philippa Giles. In Arabic with International Relations, Spanish and Study Abroad, Cassia Durkhan. In Arabic with Spanish and Study Abroad, Krista John Noren. In Arabic and Strategy and International Security, Elizabeth Grace Walbridge. In Middle East Politics, Nihal Ahardan. In Middle East Studies, Connor George Cassidy. Amelia Florence Wright. In Middle East Studies and International Relations, Alejandra Sonia de Barcena Mercer. In Middle East Studies with History, Sarah Wood. In the College of Humanities, for the degree of Bachelor of Arts in French and Arabic, Leila Kara. Natasha Worthington. Sahar Anam Zafar. In Spanish and Arabic, Anna Helen Prescott. Syed Harith Adrus Shahabuddin. Christine Thompson. In History and International Relations, Olivia Grace Godin. Harry Rokeson. In History and International Relations with Study Abroad, James Louis Pearson. In History and Politics, Hannah Wilson. In the Business School, for the degree of Bachelor of Science in Economics and International Relations with work experience abroad, Louis-Marie Régis Valérie Maison de Malartic.
Some of our graduates can't be with us today because of health or travel or employment, but we nevertheless confer their degree upon them, and I would therefore like you to join me in congratulating those who are receiving their degrees in absentia.
I now call upon Bryony Lovelace of the Students' Guild to give the student vote of thanks.
Hello, Exeter graduates. You can give yourself a round of applause. Before I start, I must say it's a pleasure to be able to address you all as such for the first time. As Exeter graduates, my heartfelt congratulations, Mabruk. Savour this moment. You should all be incredibly proud of the hard work you've put in during your time here to reach this point, contributing to academic life on campus, to student life in the city, to the world around you. Today is a day for celebration. And throughout these celebrations, the raising of glasses, the posing for photos on the Exeter Rock, the recollection of stories with friends, it is important that we do two things. First, that we reflect upon how much we've grown during our time in Exeter, and second, that we look towards the future. We will leave Exeter with so many wonderful memories, the beautiful surroundings, the wonderful friends, and of course, the highest ratio of trees to students in the country. University really is like this little world, separate from everything before and everything after, and we should be so thankful for all it has given us. Exeter has introduced us to new opportunities every single day, whether that be through volunteering and engaging in the community, guild societies, sport in the athletics union, or a never-ending list of exciting events. University life can become so brilliantly chaotic and exciting with such frequency and such quantity. It's an environment unlike anything else. That's not to say that your time here won't have been without its challenges. It would be so easy to breeze over the all-nighters in the library, the month when the budget was a bit tight, or that really difficult exam. The times when real life didn't quite match up to our expectations. But here you are, and I honestly believe it's a unique balance of both the good and the bad that has transformed us into the strong individuals who are sat here today. Graduates with knowledge, passion, and resilience. There will be so many people who've helped us get to this moment that we need to show our thanks to. And I'm sure it goes without saying that on behalf of every graduate, to all members of staff, academics, family and friends, your support is appreciated more than words can say. So what's next? If we have even a little in common, that question might terrify you right now. Some of you will have jobs or adventures planned and ready to go. Others will be looking to further your academic career or meticulously plan out the next 50 years. And some of you won't have had time to think about it yet. I was asking the same questions when I graduated a year ago, and actually, something I've learned in my role as Vice President Education of the Students' Guild is that these are all great places to be in. Just think, if you've ever found a free seat in the library, if you've ever successfully navigated the corridors of Amory or Queen's, or if you've ever even been to a Cheesy Tuesdays once as a final year student, you can do anything. Exeter's little-known motto is Lociem Sequima, and while the colloquial translation is bleed green, the literal one is we follow the light. You may not realise it yet, but your time here will have equipped you to do exactly that, to go forth into the world and flourish. You are graduates who are able to affect change, the critical thinkers and problem solvers of tomorrow. Individuals with imagination and ambition, ready to actively engage with any challenge this world has to give. And you've all got degrees from Exeter, a global institution and probably the best university in the world.
Bryony, thank you very much for the contribution you've made to the university and your role in the Students' Guild, and also to the Students' Guild. The Students' Guild is at the heart of pulling the community of the university together. It provides the focal point for sporting, social, and cultural coming together of students and other staff of the university, but also plays an incredibly important part in supporting students. Although we've been celebrating your time here, it's not been a bed of roses for everybody. For all of you, there have been challenges. For many of you, it's your first time away from home. For a significant number, a first time away from your home country, often studying new subjects. There are stresses around new relationships. There are stresses related to social media. There are stresses of identity. And the Students' Guild and the staff of the university play a very important part in helping people manage their stresses. I'd also like to thank three other constituencies. Firstly, the City of Exeter. We are guests in their community. We are quite a large university by the size of the town, and therefore we're quite conspicuous, and we are always aware of the fact that we are guests and we must be responsible and giving members of the community. Exeter stands amongst the highest universities in the country in terms of the amount of time that our students spend on volunteering. And of course, a great deal of that will be in Exeter and around our campus in Cornwall. But we do thank the people of Exeter for welcoming us and at times tolerating us. I'd also like to thank the professional staff of the university. They're people we don't see all that often, but the place wouldn't work without them. There are 2,000 of them in a community of about 25,000, with a lot of young people who don't necessarily like being told what to do. So they do wonderfully well. The place works, and that's really very, very important. And finally, I'd like to thank our academic staff, some who are represented here on the stage. They have managed to get you from there to here, and that's quite an achievement in some cases. I see the looks across the faces. I must say this is a wonderful job that I do here. It's to see these smiling faces, this uplifting at this moment. But I see some faces and smiles towards the academics and the mouthing of thanks and appreciation. I also see some looks along the lines of, well, you didn't think you were going to see me here, did you? And well done to those people in particular. But our academic staff, we've had a tricky year, but the academic staff have really been superb. And to get this balance where we get a gold award again for the standard of our teaching, which a majority of our Russell Group being the leading research universities, the majority of the Russell Group universities don't get golds for teaching. It's very difficult for an academic institution to get the balance right between research and teaching, and yet the two, in my view, are inextricably linked. To be good at one is a precondition of being good at the other. And we've done that, and thank you very much indeed, academic colleagues. We really appreciate your contribution. Thank you. So you now go off into your lives, into your careers, into the next stage of academic development, or whatever you choose to do. You've had a great education. You've had supporting family and friends. You've had advantage. I urge you to use those things not only to develop your own lives for your personal fulfillment, and I sincerely hope you achieve that in your careers, in your relationships, in your spiritual awareness and other things that matter. But there's more than that. You are leaders. You have a duty to lead. Good things don't happen naturally. They need good people to be the inspiration for goodness. I want you to be those people. I want you not just to sit there and say, I'm really feeling great, I've got my degree. Please feel that. But also recognize that you have the power to change. You have the power to improve the world. You can be the voice for those who can't find their own voices. You can be the agents for making good. I urge you to do that because you have the opportunity to do that when so many still do not. It's been a great pleasure to preside over this ceremony. I declare congregation closed. Thank you.